And I think there was something so magnetic about her. She knew how to market and use that tool so well. I remember her always being on a horse, the hat and the hair, like she had this persona down.
She was so different.
She did tell me at one point that like the first time she ever saw me, she felt like she was in love with me, and like that didn't happen to her all the time.
This is not healthy. Thought I'd found my pack, and that's not what it is. This is an actual cult. This is all fake. This person created a space that we thought was safe and that we thought was something that it wasn't.
She twisted my vulnerability.
Person is abusing their power and abusing people's need to like commune with other people in that way.
Angela calls it manifestation, but it's really just manipulation.
I gave her so much money, so much time, and so much of myself. I was desperate. Everything she forced me to share with her, she used against me.
She convinced us she could speak to aliens and her ancestors.
I should have seen all of the red flags.
It's part of the manipulation because it leaves you thinking like, oh, well, this person is like so honest about everything. Like, why would they lie about this?
You ruined me financially. It has taken me 3 years to recover. I know I'm only one person who she leveled. So many of us have spent years in packing the experience, learning to forgive ourselves for our vulnerabilities.
So obvious that she is not a psychologist or a therapist at all.
Yeah.
She's not qualified to say any of those things because they're not true, and she would know that had she had any sort of training.
Looking back, I don't think anything she said was the truth. That's terrifying.
We went from 0 to 100 very quickly. That made it feel very bonded really quickly. We were ready to die for one another.
I felt like, oh, finally a space where I can be everything that I am. But looking back, it was everything but.
Leaders are often highly charismatic and persuasive, with a magnetic personality that can attract and influence followers. Cult leaders tend to be charming and clever, and use that charm to persuade people that doing what the cult leader commands is the best way to achieve their personal goals, whether that be power, sex, money, or simply attention.
She told us she could speak to the aliens and that her purpose here on Earth was to help us. Everything was magical, everything had meaning, and she was magnetic.
They would never have followers if they didn't know how to make people feel special and like they're actually the center of attention, says mental health counselor and leading cult expert Steven Hassan. They say the right words, but it's not genuine, it's just acting. Cult leaders often have a strong need for control and may exhibit authoritarian behaviors, such as dictating the beliefs and actions of their followers. Behavior control, information control, thought control, and emotional control are the aspects of the bite model, which are typically methods of control that will be weaponized by cult leaders onto their followers using undue influence, or in other words, brainwashing. Cult leaders are not able to tolerate being wrong, nor do they want to have to take any responsibility for having wronged you. They often feel that they are above the law, they are beyond reproach, and enjoy shaming those in the group who defy them, disagree with them, or hurt their ego or reputation in any way. Many cult leaders are malignant narcissists, those who have sociopathy and simply do not care about the pain they inflict, the damage they cause, and the lives they derail in order to get their very powerful ego needs met. Unpredictability is a common trait in cult leaders as well. The latest theory amongst mental health professionals is that people with this level of disorder had insecure attachment in their first few years. When discussing this theory, Dr. Steven Hassan emphasizes the power of loving caregivers. Growing up with someone who offers support and encouragement helps people develop a healthy sense of self. But these cult leaders have a hole where they should have a sense of self. They're also trying to compensate by getting people's attention or feeling power over others because they felt so helpless as a child. That is a common profile. Since 2020, we haven't had a shortage of documentaries exposing cult leaders. In 2021, our screens were graced with Gwen Shamblin and her giant hair of the Way Down cult. In 2022, all anyone could talk about is Teal Swan and her insane, manufactured trauma self-help cult. And more recently, the Love Has Won, The Cult of Mother God documentary explored the life and death of cult leader Amy Carlson, who, after she passed away, her cult members wrapped her in Christmas lights and put her in a closet. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Chelsea, just a lady with a bulldog, a camera, and far too many opinions. And today we are discussing the false phoenix herself, Angela Sumner, known to most as the Monat witch. To be clear, all of this is my own opinion. None of my content ever is intended to incite hate or harassment towards any entity or public figure or individual at all. Per copyright law, this is protected under fair use, and the statements that are provided in this video are purely anecdotal, and I'm not stating any of them as a fact. This is not a petting zoo. This is not an interactive experience. Don't contact anyone that I ever include in any of my content. Now that we have that out of the way, ex-members of all of the previously mentioned cults had to be willing to speak out for said cults to be exposed. Getting anyone to speak with me about Angela was extremely challenging. Thankfully, after being ghosted and blocked by many of the people that I reached out to, it seemed like word had gotten around that I was reaching out to people and asking questions. So within a week of me reaching out to over 50 people, some individuals started reaching out to me, saying that they were referred by someone else and wanted to help. And I am very thankful for that. However, here's the thing. Mostly all of these people are still so scared of Angela, to put it frankly, traumatized by her still, that they want to remain completely anonymous. Unfortunately for me, there will be a part 2. So here's what we're gonna do. To protect these people, to help them feel safe, help them feel like they are having their voice and their stories heard, some of my channel members, love them so much, have volunteered to do a little voice acting work and read some of these statements. And again, all of this is alleged. I'm not stating any of this is a fact. It is all anecdotal, and these are other people's experiences and opinions. So I know, get on with it, Chelsea. What are you doing? This is taking too long. So who is Angela Sumner?
And you are a coward if you covered your face because some entity told you to. Decline that request. No, thank you. I will not cover my face.
I gave her so much money. She sent me back years. I know I'm not the only person she leveled. It has taken me over 3 years to recover.
Who would have thought I showed her my asshole or my bloody pussy? Disgusted by women right now. I just want to spit on them.
Her ankles were always bleeding because of the ankle bracelets.
So at the next slaughter, take a bite out of some warm heart because my hands are all bloody, and I'm definitely gonna lick this blood off. So if you're grossed out, then you might not want to look. Okay? And I'm just gonna praise Jesus all day long.
Energy, there's a frequency that each one of us carries. I only eat 1 meal a day.
It was so scary. Like my whole body would go hot, like I was in trouble.
I had to go away and skin lizards and skin coyotes and put bones back together and write poetry and scream at tree trunks and almost freeze to death with 2 broken arms, who allowed me to become a death doula, where I started to talk to the dead and to the interdimensionals.
They really believe that she is hexing people.
As someone who could see and speak to the other realms, dead people, aliens, etc.
Many of us are scared to talk about her because she spent years pitting women against each other.
Painting my face with my own menstrual blood was a mental illness and that I needed to seek help. And I'm just here to offer you the actual truth.
If you had trauma, it didn't matter. Hers was more important. Whatever you went through, she would one-up you and make it then seem like your experience didn't matter. And you had to just get over it and move past it.
Is a self-proclaimed entrepreneur, born-again Christian, and to put it very simply, a raging narcissistic grifter. Over the years, she has had numerous rebrands, or as she would call them, rebirths or transformations. Since 2015, Angela has gone from a yoga instructor, a homeless death doula, a seasonal ranch worker, a perpetually homeless coach, and then a witch and a spiritual cult leader, to a network marketing boss babe, to a crunchy mom, and finally, my personal favorite, a born-again Christian conspiracy theorist. And overall, a menace to the internet. Same crazy, different years, different demographics, different victims. But do we even know who Angela Sumner really is? When interviewed for an article titled Season of the Witch, Angela Sumner, for RoxyJaneHunt.com. Angela said this when asked about her witch journey. Growing up in the Deep South, in the first town where slaves were brought to America, I experienced the fullness of my embodiment early on, very early on. The soil on which I was raised had been blessed and cursed for centuries, and my roots went even deeper than that. The church was scared of my fierce beauty and truths. I had regular migraines and hallucinations which took me out of my body and into other realms. I saw dead people. I spoke to the non-human entities. The spirit realm were my cohorts. I didn't understand the human limitations. It wasn't until I rejected my human self and decided to step into my sacred self that I discovered how easy it was and fun to live this human life. I now channel and work in many realms while fully enjoying this Angela body. Being a witch is my favorite way to live. According to friends, yearbooks, and public records, Angela is the youngest of 3. She has a brother, John, and a sister, Selena, and multiple nieces and nephews. She grew up in South Carolina in the Charleston area and graduated high school in 2002. She attended the College of Charleston from 2003 to 2008 and then did a semester at sea through the University of Virginia in their study abroad program in 2008. Following her semester at sea, she worked at the South Carolina Aquarium, and then after that, several sales-related jobs in the Charleston area until about 2015. Her biological father was allegedly not involved in her life at all and went to prison while her mother was pregnant with her. However, her stepfather, who unfortunately very recently did just pass away, did step in and take on that role. According to sources close to the family, he was a loving stepfather, provider, and doting husband. However, although her stepfather tried to have a relationship with her and support her, Angela apparently had nothing but contempt for him. Angela has held on to her rag-to-riches stories for years, claiming that she grew up in extreme poverty in a Southern Baptist family, and that she did not have a family support system. She has said many times that she basically does not have a family at all. Social media and pictures and outside sources can only tell us so much, and there are always multiple sides to every story and relationship. However, multiple sources who have known her family for a long time and known her for a long time have alleged that the narrative that she sells regarding her childhood and familial relationships is completely false. So how did we go from this to this to this? It seems as though every time Angela is either rejected or something just doesn't go her way, she rebrands herself into a whole nother person. Typically, before introducing this different person, this different era to the world, and being able to turn it into a new grift, she will either create a new Instagram account, scrub her last one, or just leave social media and not post for a span of typically 2 to 4 months. She has done this multiple times. In 2015, Angela lived and worked on a bison ranch in Colorado. She was there for one season and worked in the kitchen. Her sister and mother even made a trip out there to visit her. Some have alleged that Angela was, quote, asked to leave the ranch due to an altercation she had with another worker. But either way, this is where her infamous homeless storyline starts. Now, prior to getting an invitation for seasonal work on a bison ranch, Angela says that she was homeless in the forest with 2 broken arms, and that she would spend 8 hours a day reassembling animal skeletons and skinning lizards. Is she doing that with like an X-Acto knife? How are you skinning lizards? How big are those lizards? I have so many questions and not a lot of answers. Now, she called this her work and said that this was detrimental to her life and that she would scream at trees and lived in the forest, and truly makes it sound like she was just living outside in the forest. Until an elderly couple found her, like they were just walking in the forest and like found this dirty woman playing with bones and adopted her and let her live with them. Keep in mind, at this point, Angela is well into her mid to late 20s. An elderly couple did not happen upon her in the forest and find her in some like raised by wolves type state and bring her home and bathe her and let her live with them. Truly insanity. And again, what do we expect? But they didn't adopt her. You're well into your 20s, Angela. They let you live with them. And most likely what happened is that she made a connection with these people by trauma dumping on them and love bombing them, like allegedly she has with almost everyone else that has had an experience with her in her life.
I didn't become homeless on accident. I had to go away and skin lizards and skin coyotes and put bones back together and write poetry and scream at tree trunks and almost freeze to death with 2 broken arms before I could meet my adopted parents who saved my life, who invited me in.
Now, before we go further, I want to discuss Angela's claims and perception of being homeless. And this is truly just fascinating to me because Angela really has reframed and manipulated this homelessness claim and used it in her rags to riches stories throughout every single one of her grifts, every single one of her money-making schemes. She's talked about being homeless so many times, and almost every time from what I can see, she fails to mention that she was homeless by choice. She didn't have to be homeless, so to speak. And then more so than that, she wasn't without shelter. However, it does seem like that every time she says that. For instance, when she was pregnant and promoting her Monat business opportunity on Instagram Reels, she was showing off her beautiful pregnant belly, sipping coffee, and saying that she was working from home and she is so happy and making it seem like she was thriving monetarily due to money and being able to be home and blah, blah, blah. In reality, she was living at her friend's house. But then in later Instagram stories, she was saying that she had like a bladder infection or a vaginal fungus or something. It's like, girlfriend, we don't need to know that. And then that she was homeless and like 8 months pregnant or something. And it's like, so are you homeless or which one is it? It really depends on what mood she's in or what she's trying to sell and who she's talking to. And of course, you can be homeless and be living on your friend's couch. You can be homeless and living in your car. Being homeless doesn't necessarily mean that like you are living outside without a structure. It can mean a lot of different things, but in these instances, it's very misleading and it's very manipulative in my opinion, especially when multiple people have said that with Angela's core rags to riches stories about how she was living in the woods with 2 broken arms. And again, she never mentions that she lived in a cabin. She never mentions that she was renting a cabin, allegedly. Sources have said that she was renting a cabin on the San Juan Islands, which absolutely looks beautiful, by the way. But she fails to mention that she was renting a cabin. It's just truly wild to me that she will not only use the homelessness claim to manipulate her own history and make her rags to riches story sound even better and make her past sound worse and her current life sound great, but then also use her homelessness as a flex and a way to market whatever she's doing right now, since her living situation hasn't really changed from when she was homeless and poor and broke and depressed and skinning animals and playing with bones. That's mental illness. That's not manifestation and a breakthrough. And then on the flip side of that, she's still doing like long-term rentals and Airbnbs and living on her friends' couches and staying with her friends. The only thing that's really changed is how much money she's making at the time and how she is promoting it on social media. That's it. It really does seem like Angela will cosplay as a homeless individual when it fits her storyline, and that storyline will benefit her monetarily. She was homeless when she's telling her rags to riches story to try to make a connection with you. And then she's homeless when she has so much money and so much freedom and prefers that so that she can travel anywhere and doesn't have anything to tie her down, except for the child that she now has. And then also the previous child she had via egg donor in a lesbian relationship. Don't forget about that. In 2015, Angela performed fake activism at Standing Rock. Standing Rock Reservation lies across the border between North Dakota and South Dakota in the United States. In December 2016, when thousands of Indigenous people, environmental activists, and their supporters were camped on the high plains of North Dakota, hoping to stymie an oil pipeline mapped beneath the drinking water source for that reservation. This garnered a lot of media attention. Many sources claim that Angela was promoting her vintage clothing resale business, goddess wear, or heirloom shop, whatever name you would like to call it, the entire time, and using that opportunity purely as a marketing opportunity and taking pictures of herself in front of teepees and with indigenous people and truly just being a menace. Those who followed her Instagram closely at the time have said that she was 100% asked to leave because she was squatting and generally making a nuisance of herself. At the time, she reported to her followers that the white buffalo calf woman sent her a vision and told her that it was time to go, despite the situation being at its most tenuous, when in reality, she was kicked out of the camp. In 2017, Angela was a part of the Spirit Weavers Gathering group. Spirit Weavers is an organization that hosts a 5-day-long retreat for women where you can take classes, learn skills, be naked, do bonfires. There's even a marketplace, different booths, a trading blanket, and basically all be in a creek with your titties out. However, it seems as though she was not welcome to come back since allegedly she broke the rule that you are not supposed to bring your dog to the gathering. Angela, of course, claims that she didn't like the hierarchy aspect of the group and said that she wanted to start her own, which is very ironic. One Reddit user had this to say, "I don't actually think she was asked to leave. She said that, but a ton of people called her out publicly and said that she was a liar for those allegations. She opted to leave, basically couldn't handle not being the center of attention, and shit-talked a bunch of women who then all popped into her Instagram comments and were like, we had an absolutely pleasant conversation. Where the F did this come from?" Angela actually had a booth set up for her Were Goddess vintage reselling business. In one of Angela's Instagram posts she made after leaving the Spirit Weavers Gathering, the caption said, "The best part about being clairaudient at a women's gathering, bitches talk so loudly, I don't even have to work to hear their gossip." One commenter replied to this and said it was hurtful for many to read your claim about how, quote, most of the women here are 100% failing at their work, and the judgment that came from your recent post about this gathering, which strives to be a safe container honoring all women, regardless of where they are on their path, only to see you on the land every day. I have never heard any spiritual teaching that condones the judgment of others. If anything, that is the antithesis of consciousness and the definition of catty behavior. Angela also posted saying that her last post was not meant to harm or cause cattiness and that she would like to clarify that we all have opinions. Luckily, we can all share. She said that her history with Spirit Weavers runs deep, and so do her emotions about the gathering. She was gifted the first ever ticket to the gathering during a time in her life where she was consciously contemplating exiting the human world on a daily basis. She said that after the gathering, she expressed her concerns about the inner circle and some of her witnesses. She then went to the gathering knowing no one. She left knowing most everyone. She also heard women speaking about cliques and posses and heard many in the inner circle speaking about the desire to create an invite-only gathering to maintain their circle. Now, obviously, I do not always believe what Angela Sumner says. I have talked to many others who have frequented the Spirit Weavers groups, and they have said that yes, there is cattiness, yes, there is an inner circle, and I think that happens whenever you get any group of people together. That can happen. One thing I found interesting was an article by Marissa Metzler in Harper's Bazaar. She actually went to the Spirit Weavers Gathering in 2016, and she describes it as the world's chicest cult. She said that there were about 500 women, all who had paid $700 for tickets. She said that mostly everyone was in their 20s and 30s and looked like members of an exceptionally chic cult. The Spirit Weavers has a casual and enthusiastic relationship to cultural appropriation that feels like poor judgment. One of the members said, "A lot of us have lost our roots. We don't know where we come from. Call in your mountains, your water. I call out the Sueño Indians. I grew up in Norco with horses and water from the well and was raised by the Santa Ana winds." The rhetoric of Spirit Weavers is a nebulous combination of religion, spirituality, eco-activism, and groupthink. Most of what is said ends up sounding like lost Buffy lyrics. The aesthetic is Gap Year Abroad meets Etsy meets Women Who Run with the Wolves. In true Angela Sumner fashion, after being rejected by the Spirit Weavers and then also called out regarding how her version of the events did not match up with other people's reality, She pulled a Michael Scott and showed them by creating her own paper company.
And start my own paper company. That'll show them.
She had also already had a pretty good customer base with her vintage online store, Wear Goddess, or also known as Heirloom Shop. She rebranded it and renamed it multiple times. She also claims that she built this business up to multiple six figures. She claims that she could have sold it and was trying to sell it for hundreds of thousands of dollars. I personally find that highly unlikely. She would go to thrift shops, secondhand stores, estate sales, etc., and purchase clothing and post it for sale on her Instagram. Before selling it, however, she would wear the items not only to model it for the listing post, but she would also wear the items, according to previous customers, to bless the garments.
I started following her and bought clothes from her vintage goddess business, and I considered taking her course, the Phoenix thing. I'm so happy I didn't go through with that. Every time I interacted with her or asked a question, she made me feel insane. It was so scary, like my whole body would go hot, like I was in trouble. That flush of embarrassment. She lives for that. She lives to make others feel small. Buying clothes from her triggered me for sure. I have an eating disorder, and I think she does too. The body checking she does, the starving yourself and calling it intermittent fasting, while also drinking wine all day, the body shaming. She made you believe that you were somehow blessed if you bought her garments. I was so messed up at that time. It's like she cursed me.
Angela claims that the Phoenix experience and the brand as a whole was inspired by her suffering a traumatic miscarriage. As I've already stated, and as you can surely see so far, Angela is not a reliable narrator. Her stories and her timelines are often very contradictory to each other, and they change pretty quickly. Whatever narrative suits her best at that time and works for what she's trying to sell you is the one that she's going to go with. Allegedly, there was a time right after the supposed miscarriage that she was actually saying that she took the abortion pill and that it wasn't a miscarriage. Later, she changed the story to say that it was a miscarriage, and then sometimes she says that it was a medically necessary miscarriage, meaning that she took the abortion pill to save her life. One Reddit user put it very well by stating, "I mean no judgment for whatever she experienced. Abortion, miscarriage, that is her journey. But her timelines are always confusing for her followers. I feel like when she does stories or calls based on what others have said, she can't control the compulsion to create other narratives, forgetting that it might not align." Yes, I'm standing up now because I am on my soapbox. This is just a little side note for you. If you do not agree with abortions, don't get one. However, please do educate yourselves on abortions before speaking on them, and especially before voting to pass laws that push your religious beliefs onto other people and take away their rights. And that is all I have to say on this topic for now. Now, in this Phoenix Experience group, these women would pay Angela to be in the group, and they would have Zoom calls. They would talk about money and manifestation and vibrations and other woo-woo sphere things. There were 4 Phoenix Experience groups or sessions. The first was late 2016, and then there was one in February 2017, followed by the third one in summer of 2017, and then one in the fall of 2017. The first one was $222, and then right after the new year, it quickly tripled in price, jumping to $666. One source relayed her friend's experience with Angela, saying this: "My friend, let's call her Moon Pie, wanted to join Phoenix Experience 1 and missed it. She believed Angela could help her with her throat chakra because Angela is, quote, just so free with talking her shit, end quote. And Moon Pie has a hard time asserting herself. I floated the idea that we didn't really know if Angela was actually that ballsy or just a bored, incendiary bitch, and maybe to let it go another round and see if it gets weird or turns into a cult or embarrassing drama." Moon Pie was convinced and emailed Angela about joining round 2 and immediately got a reply promising all kinds of BS for $666. My friend expected it to be $222 like it was the month earlier. This was less than a week after Christmas, early January 2017. Moon Pie balked at the price jump and told her so. Angela immediately responded that my friend had money trauma and abundance issues. Moon Pie replied that a 3 times price jump was unexpected It was a lot of money to fork over right after Christmas, and she had 3 kids to consider when making big random purchases. And that, by the way, that price is a creepy number. Angela shot back within seconds that my friend's issue wasn't actually a core money abundance rejection defect. No, instead, it was a deep wound around women and her inability to relate to and trust women, and therefore, she really needed to join. Less than 5 minutes after their last exchange, Angela was on Instagram talking shit about the interaction she had just had with my friend. It wasn't veiled or vague at all. It was classic Angela shit talk. Moonpie got bummed and mentioned it to our mutual friend, who was a target of Angela's shit talk on and off for a while because she was chronically ill. And of course, Angela didn't believe. Now, of course, with any high control group, which in my opinion, this is, it is not an easy task to leave or cut ties with the group and with the leader. Many times, the leader of the group will manipulate you and manipulate other people into getting you to stay. Not only due to loss of money for the leader if you leave, but then also because of that ripple effect that one person leaving can have. And that would mean a loss of control. And if there's one thing about narcissists, we know that they don't like to lose that grip on control. More often than not, there are a lot of red flags that people who are in high control groups will see. It's not typically just one single thing that happens and then they're like, oh my gosh, everything was perfect before, now I have to leave. It's typically a lot of red flags, and then they start to notice them, they start to accept them, and then one big thing happens, or the leader says one thing, or an event happens, and then they leave. For what seems like a good amount of people, the catalyst of the downfall, so to speak, of the Phoenix group was not only what happened on the second day of the 4th Phoenix Experience gathering session, but how Angela handled it as well. Cherie Wilder was a part of the Phoenix Experience group and was in attendance at the retreat at the Hot Springs Resort. Unfortunately, on the second day of the retreat on Halloween, Cherie died due to a torn aorta, which was caused by complications from Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. There has been quite a bit of speculation that Cherie was encouraged by Angela to cease taking her medication that she was prescribed, and that ultimately was the cause of her passing. According to multiple sources, it wasn't necessarily Cherie's passing that caused a lot of people to leave the group. However, many have said that it was how Angela handled her passing that solidified their decision to end their association with Angela and with the Phoenix Experience group. And I do want to be clear, I am not making any accusations towards Angela regarding the death of Cherie, and I am not saying that she caused her death. I am simply just mentioning that there was quite a bit of speculation regarding Angela's influence on Cherie ceasing to take her medication, and there was an investigation, and that did not result in Angela being charged with anything. Cherie's family had a service for her at their home church. Her family was conventionally Christian. And now Angela allegedly went to the funeral wearing white while having barred all of the other members of the group, even people who were allegedly very close to Cherie, from attending the service. And then she caused an absolute scene at the funeral. Apparently, Angela was so upset because they were having a Christian type of service for her, and Angela having claimed to having grown up in a very Southern Baptist, not quite fundamentalist, but like Southern Baptist, she has stated previously that she has some trauma related to that. She was not having it and went on to tell the family that Cherie died at her retreat and that it meant something and that she was a witch and she chose to die there and that they were disrespecting her and that it was inappropriate for them to have a Christian service for her. Imagine your sister, wife, daughter, granddaughter just passed away, and this lady in white shows up saying that she's a witch and starts telling all of you that you're disrespecting your family member. I probably would have reacted like Cherie's grandmother apparently did, good old Dolores. Apparently this woman, and I hope this is true, but apparently she chased Angela out of the church. I'm a big fan of Dolores. She did not answer any of my emails. However, I'm a big fan of you, Dolores. Not that you're ever going to watch this, but you're my kind of lady, and I respect it. Angela's Instagram posts following the funeral are truly unhinged. She said that Cherie was talking to her a lot, and that Cherie was supposed to die at the retreat. She was finding symbols and signs and meaning in every little thing. In one post, Angela said, "I effed up today. I did my best, but it wasn't good enough. I failed the Phoenix sisterhood. I failed myself, and I'll never forgive myself. And for the rest of my days, I will honor and defend and protect my sisters in life and death. I vow. I'm sorry. To those at Cherie's service, to disrespect a witch after she's dead is the greatest atrocity. While I'd like to respect the family of the witch, there is nothing you can do to save your soul once you slaughtered a witch who has already left her body. To dishonor her in death is to dishonor her in life. To use the divine, aka her own divinity, against her is reaffirming your own torment. A witch is the divine. Good luck now. You may think heaven is outside yourself, but Cherie knows, and I know, heaven is right here, right now. Be here now. There is no future. I can't believe I didn't do everything in my power to fight for you, Cherie, but I was scared, and I didn't know what to do. I will never hide behind fear of the church and of what they've done to both of us ever again. I vow. I'm learning more and more and more every day. This medicine of the Phoenix is the greatest lesson of all my lives, and I'll do better next time. I'm so sorry. I love you. In another post, Angela said, "It isn't confusing, and I have nothing to hide. A woman chose to die when she did, weaving the perfect web for her own perfect life. It isn't sad. It isn't a tragedy. It isn't anything short of a miracle. She knew exactly what she was doing when she left her body on Halloween at a woman's gathering in the middle of nowhere on sacred native land. She was a magnificent witch, the most powerful I've ever seen. I literally have no words for the gift she has given us all. Talk about a queen supreme. And I'm done trying to not step on anyone's toes. I bless and honor her journey, and I won't let you make it ugly. She died the way she wanted, surrounded by infinite love and freedom. This spider was crawling outside her cabin on the day the Phoenix gathering ended. You are everywhere now. You are the flame. Thank you, Cherie. I love you. The Phoenix experience goes on because you demand it does. We begin the day your life is celebrated." And Angela even went further to start using Cherie's unfortunate passing to then promote her next sessions and her next courses. In this post, she says, and keep in mind this is only 11 days after Cherie had passed away. The Phoenix experience begins today on the day we celebrate Cherie. Her service is, of course, on 11/11 at 2 p.m. 1+1. Her husband is my forever family, and from her death has come more love and more beauty than I ever knew possible. I am delving into the Phoenix Experience 4 with the best group of witches on any planet, and so I will be absent here except for the once daily live Q&A. In this one, about a month after Cherie had passed, Angela said, "Cherie has basically been bitching at me all day about getting real about the sisterhood. It's gonna happen. I am quite spicy today, feeling the need to push a boundary." Or 11. Tonight's Insta Live is on sisterhood and the way we show up for one another, or the ways we don't. What that means, why we do it, how we can actively change to change the world. Regarding Cherie, her passing, the Phoenix experience, and Angela's handling of that entire situation, one Reddit user wrote, "The woman, I'm not going to name her here, had a chronic illness, had a seizure, and died during her gathering on Halloween. At the time she died, I remember Angela going nuts on Instagram because, according to Angela, her family was staunchly religious, and the woman was a true witch. She announced that she was going to the funeral specifically to denounce the way the funeral was being handled and that Angela knew her better than the family. Angela actually wrote things to the tune of, "She died on Halloween at my gathering for a purpose because she was a witch like me, and of course had to make it all about her." She made the whole thing incredibly icky and uncomfortable. This was right around the time that her former assistant came out publicly with the details of Angela's abuse, and the word cult was being thrown around.
I think many of us are scared to talk about her because she spent years pitting women against each other. The different versions of the truth she would tell all of us just shows she wanted to keep control of all of us, to have us together, but still isolated.
Multiple sources have different versions of what happened next. Some say that Angela invited Cherie's husband to take part in the group and to practice with them because they were, quote, family, and that he would join their calls, and that Angela was trying to start a relationship with him herself, but that he rejected her, and in turn, she kicked him out of the group. and kicked out another woman. Then another version of the story was that she was trying to match him with another witch in the group. The story that is the most consistent is that Cherie's husband was invited to the group, and once he started a relationship with one of the members, quickly after that, Angela allegedly kicked both of them out of the group due to their, quote, lack of integrity. On a positive note, it does seem like Cherie's husband and the other Phoenix Experience member are married, have 2 beautiful children, and look very happy together. Quickly after this, not even a full quarter into the following year, 2018, it seems that the fire of the Phoenix was burning out. With Angela's new class of attendees for the Phoenix Experience 2.0, Phoenix Rising, her masterclass, whatever you want to call it, she was also doing virtual sessions and coaching sessions. And her pricing, I don't know how to phrase it other than it was absolutely offensive. At one point, she was charging just $45 for a one-on-one. And then she got to upwards of $5,000 per month, $10,000 per month, $15,000 per month. For what? Like I said, Angela increased her pricing and was telling her students, her attendees, her clients, that it was going to require more commitment from them, that it was going to be more intense, and that they needed to put this above everything else in their lives, meaning they needed to put giving her money before everything else in their lives. However, it does seem that the commitment was lacking on Angela's side because allegedly she got a boyfriend and decided that it was a better idea to continue to take everyone's money for her coaching and mastermind services, however, have everyone else teach each other. And she would just log on to the Zoom calls and that's it. But the other teachers weren't getting paid, it was just her. After Angela's Phoenix era burnt down, she basically ran off with people's money and came back even stronger in her witchy masterclass era. Angela was able to utilize her ability to turn the mundane into the magical and convince the naive to pay her hundreds to thousands of dollars for her expertise, whether it be applied to their business or their life in general. And what expertise is that, you might ask? Well, as far as I can tell, nothing. Angela claims that she went to a mystery school and that she has run multiple successful businesses. And I'm not talking about Hogwarts in regards to mystery school, but she says that she studied under this excellent teacher and she learned the ways of Mary Magdalene, and Mary Magdalene is her best teacher. She allegedly told many of her clients that she had to wear these anklets and never take them off as part of her schooling. The earliest that I can see her wearing these ankle cuffs, or these ankle bangles, if you will, is from summer of 2017. Interestingly enough, it was a picture from the Spirit Weavers gathering.
Apparently, her mystery school teacher told her that she had to trade in her anklets, or her tethers, as she called them, for $10,000 solid gold ones. She kept telling me that it was hard for her to hand over the money, but she knew that she had to listen to her teacher and not question it, since he knew better than her. Looking back, I can see she was using this to manipulate me, to continue to hand over money to her without questioning anything.
Have you seen the anklets she wears? They are like bangles. They're silver. She used to never take them off. She said her teacher told her she had to wear them. Her ankles were always bleeding because of the ankle bracelets.
Apparently, Angela has never said exactly who her real teacher was or what course she actually took or what mystery school she actually went to. What do you know? It's a mystery. But a lot of people, I'm on board with this thought process as well, even doubt if she went to one because things just aren't necessarily adding up. The only time that Angela ever talks about a teacher in regards to mystery school or witch school or anything like that is when she says that Mary Magdalene is her teacher. And yes, she's talking about Jesus's hoe friend. However, it really doesn't matter if friends of Jesus, Mary Magdalene, Mary Dugan, Trixie Mattel, doesn't matter who taught her or if she went to a mystery school or it didn't, because these mystery schools, in my opinion, and these types of courses are complete scams. And, surprise, surprise, cults. To put it very, very simply, mystery schools are organizations that offer classes and education on enlightenment, metaphysics, witchcraft, magic, and much more. These schools have been around since ancient Greece, ancient Egypt, and have always been shrouded in secrecy. That is, until it seems that many of them started a recruitment aspect. That's right. Courses on how to sell courses, about selling courses, to sell courses aren't just for the Instagram hustle girl boss babes. It's also for the woo-woo witch babes too. A quick Google search will show you endless results of these scams with slightly varying names. The most well-known of which is the recently exposed as a cult, Modern Mystery School. Think of it as Scientology, but with magic, more aliens, and less Tom Cruise. Now, just like with multi-level marketing companies, network marketing companies, and the newly trendy, equally as scammy, master resale rights, you're paying hundreds to thousands of dollars and then ultimately trying to recoup that money by selling the same opportunity to sell what you are selling to other people. Spend thousands on courses and classes with Mystery School, and then, start your own Mystery School. It's genuinely a vicious cycle, but, magical. Angela also had her own Mystery School witch course. Advertised on one of her many now defunct websites, this was invite only, and other than the price, a no refund disclaimer, and this picture in the woods with her nips out, there was no other information. She was charging $299 to $1,100 for these specific courses. At one point, which we will get into later, she was charging upwards of $10,000 for coaching calls. Some have claimed that Angela also had her students wear the tether anklet ankle bangles. And this reminds me of in the early 2000s when A-list celebrities were all wearing the red string Kabbalah bracelets. But this, with the ankle bangles, is much more obnoxious and inconvenient for the people wearing them. Angela had gold ankle bangles, and her students, or witch coven followers, had silver ones. After all the research I've done, after all the people I've talked to from the different time periods of Angela's life, it really seems like none of them know what actual qualifications Angela has. But this goes without saying, because Angela is not a reliable narrator at all.
I used to believe everything she said. She said she lived in the woods with 2 broken arms. I've heard her say it at least 100 times. She wasn't homeless in the woods. She rented a cabin in the San Juan Islands. She also said she had no relationship with her family and came from a broken home, but her family seems so nice. I've sailed around the world. She went on a cruise. I was the #1 in my network marketing company. She recruited the most people under her in the first 3 months she started. She wasn't the top earning person in the company. All lies. So many lies.
According to ex-employees and past clients, there was a point where Angela was charging upwards of $10,000 a month for coaching, starting in early 2018. And this is truly wild to me. This woman has no qualifications at all. And you could say, well, Chelsea, what are your qualifications? Girl, I just got a camera and opinions. That's it. And I know how to Google stuff and write a script and make a video. I mean, you can hear my dog snoring. You can probably hear my baby squeaking. But for someone to charge you over $10,000 a month or any amount close to that to help you with your business or your life or anything like that, you would hope that they would have some type of qualifications. And in my opinion, Angela hasn't even run a successful business. She says that she has, but according to sources that have worked for her and also who have been very close to her during all of these points in her different eras, during her different grifts, she has not run successful businesses at all. From what I've seen, the majority of people who have worked with her or even had an experience with her haven't had good experiences. And many have felt betrayed and hurt by her, and many traumatized. Personally, I don't think she's even good at selling or lying. I just think that somehow she's good at manipulating vulnerable people who, don't take this the wrong way, but who are desperate for change in their own lives. And what she is saying to them is piquing their interest. And I've seen it. She love bombs people. Let's take a moment to take a peek at Angela's top-notch, elevated, truly sublime $10,000 a month. Definitely worth that price. Coaching skills, shall we?
This is so exciting because I was shadow banned for a long time. I would highly encourage you to come in to Body Magic. It's a 3-week, it's 21 days of an intensive with me where I'll be live and you'll be in my energy live for 3 weeks. When you devote yourself to being in that container, that's when the alchemy happens. And I put it all in a portal for you. Mac is in the bathroom window staring at me as I talk. Can you see that?
I'm sure you can. That is just nuts.
And not to be rude, but y'all ain't worth it. This body, which I'm obsessed with, not worth coming back to be human again. Not. So I'm like, what do I have to do to never have to do this human thing again?
Even if it's really confusing, even if someone dies in front of you, even if your child dies, even if you have a daughter with another woman, even if you don't have any money, you do. You've always had money for the things you've wanted and needed. And if you don't have the money for it, you don't want it or need it. What matters is that I find my mystery and I use that mystery. I strap a harness, a chariot, onto my mystery and I write it. And as long as I'm writing my mystery and continually checking in with that, I am living the fullest expression of Angela, of not even Angela, the nameless connection to the God that I am. The BLM movement, the trans movement, okay, all of these religious, like dogmatic principles, these people trying to control you with what they believe to be true, plus factory farming, the dairy industry, overconsumption, corporations pumping pollutants into the air.
A teacher pushes your buttons. A teacher calls you out on your shit while simultaneously loving you probably more than your own parents.
The year 2020 brought us a lot. Not only the global pandemic, but slime, trauma, depression, the boom of short form content, QR codes. No one had a comeback like QR codes, am I right? Thriving. Sourdough, van life content, Among Us, Tiger King, working from home, and again, depression. Thanks to the government and the media's truly messy mishandling of the pandemic in general. Distrust and fear of regulatory organizations and the media really did spread faster than the virus itself. Unfortunately, when you mix distrust, fear, people who already don't research things, instant change, very inconsistent rules that a lot of times don't really make sense and that are changing a lot week to week, and then also put all that in an election year, it is guaranteed 98 3/4% guaranteed to push anyone over the edge. Angela Sumner seemingly saw the attention that she got from questioning COVID information, hating masks and mandates, and just her HRH collection style rants on social media where she wanted to, and I quote, spit on women, end quote. And then decided, yeah, you know what? Let's make that my entire personality.
We want to protect our neighbors by putting fucking face diapers on your children. Abuse.
Where are all the science witches now? All y'all who are like, I was a witch, but now I believe in science. So I'm signing up for my V so that I can show you that witches can be scientists too. Where are you? Now that they're trying to ban our sacred plant medicines, our stinging nettle, aloe vera, tea tree. Oh, but it's not just that. Medicines that we know heal the symptoms that are part of this lab-created V, those medicines are also on the ban list. Glutathione, NAC, B12, all the medicines that we actually need to stay healthy and to heal ourselves from these symptoms. The FDA is trying to ban those. I want to know, where are all the witches now? All you science witches, you little faux bitches.
The government will do anything to keep their power, even if it means you're an idiot for believing that they care about you and they want you to be healthy.
The people who still are wearing their face diapers, I want to applaud you. You're probably not watching me, but like when I see someone who's still wearing their face diaper, I'm like, thank you. You people are the people who truly believed that something was jumping around if we were closer than 6 feet apart and like gonna die and like fall over dead on the street. Everyone else are a liar and you are a coward if you covered your face because some entity told you to, which by the way, it was never a fucking law. It was a requested mandate, and I declined that request. No, thank you. I will not cover my face. Move along, okay? I'm healthier than you will probably ever be, and I do not get to follow you around and slap your fast food out of your hand. So no, you do not get to tell me to cover my face.
Sources close to Angela have said that even pre-pandemic, she was always on her phone. But during the pandemic, it was very much nonstop. So if she was posting, consuming, searching, anti-COVID, anti-mask, anti-vax type of information, then obviously with how algorithms work on any platform, that's all she's going to be shown. It's as if you're brainwashing yourself. The Angela we once knew, the Bernie Sanders lover of 2016, quickly turned into an alt-right, anti-vax, anti-science conspiracy theorist. And once she was there, she was only a hop, skip, and a jump away from becoming the network marketing girl boss of our dreams. Everybody's favorite, the Monat witch.
Was planning to take a year off of work completely because I knew that I was going to have a child. Monat popped up. And I remember the moment it popped up on my Instagram while I was scrolling, the feeling in my body was, this is going to change your entire life. You know, if you know anything about my life, it's been a lot of really low lows and the most insanely gorgeous highs. And whenever something is coming into my life, I kind of do this thing where I avoid it as long as I possibly can.
Now, if you are unaware or brand new to my content, Monat is a multi-level marketing company, also known as a network marketing company, that sells hair care primarily, and then also skincare and some wellness products here and there, and they have started to dabble in makeup as well. They have been sued multiple times for causing people's hair to fall out. They have been in trouble with the Florida Attorney General's office with Ashley Moody, and they have also been in trouble with the CDC and the FDA a couple times as well. And very recently, about a week ago, they have been exposed by one of their very high up employees, their ex-president, I believe he was, Stuart McMillan. The allegations in that lawsuit are absolutely making my heart sing. If you are not aware, what are you doing? Multi-level marketing companies are scams. They are not a great work from home opportunity. They take advantage of stay-at-home moms. Primarily, they take advantage of women and people from uneducated, impoverished communities. That's not an insult. That's just statistically true. The average profit nationwide per the FTC and then also the AARP is zero. Look at any income disclosure statement from any multi-level marketing company. Not every multi-level marketing company publicly releases theirs, which is also sketchy. But look at any of those and you can see the overwhelming evidence that typically less than 5% of multi-level marketing reps within that specific company will actually make a profit. And of course, as always on my channel, y'all know, you're probably mouthing it along with me right now, there is a clear difference between revenue and profit. Now, I have made countless videos about Monat specifically. They are truly a hemorrhoid in my butt. I cannot stand them. They are the worst. They have threatened to sue me multiple times, and I hate it. However, I make a lot of content about not only multi-level marketing companies, Monat, other high control groups, cults, unethical influencers, and basically just red flags that you should look out for on social media and the interwebs so that you don't get scammed. I'm not claiming to educate you. I'm here to entertain you and share some opinions and attempt to back those up with facts. But if you learn something along the way, I love that for you and I love that for me. But Angela is no different. Every time she's been in a multi-level marketing company or some type of grift like that, she has manipulated others and shared misinformation for her own financial gain. She did a lot of this in Monat as well. Within Angela's first quarter, her first full quarter of being in Monat, she was claiming that she was number one in the company, that she was breaking all these records and making so much content about it. Let's be absolutely clear. And yes, I'm very passionate about this, as you can tell. But Angela was not the number one rep, the number one distributor, the number one market partner in Monat during that time. She has never been, ever. During that specific time that she's talking about, the number one market partner within Monat was, and actually for that entire year, and I believe the year before as well, was Jacqueline Ortega, which apparently is somewhere up in Angela's upline somewhere. What actually happened was that Angela, thanks to her cult following, had recruited so many people in a very short amount of time. So within that first quarter, she received a bunch of awards because she had the most direct recruits. So she was recruiting a crap ton of people within her first 3 months of being there.
If you were a successful coach, if you had a successful businesses, why would you leave them for network marketing? It's like, you don't understand Monat. If you understood Monat, you would get it. Because everything that I had in my business I have, and then some, and then more, and then more, and then more. The mentorship, the leadership, it's all included when you buy your products. Like, I used to pay thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to get the mentorship that I get for free in Monat. Not only that, but obviously I get paid, and y'all saw how close I am to the Cadillac rank, and it's like I've earned how many trips in less than a year? I'm so close to earning a car. It's like five paychecks plus a month, every Friday and the 15th. And it's like, I don't know. When you get it, you get it. When you get it, you understand. And you can have your own business on the side. You can do other things, obviously. So if you want to get on that call, get on the call. If you want to jump on a call with me, I'm driving 7 days to Vermont. So I'm so happy to get on a call with you and talk about your fears and your thoughts.
With how she was posting and what she was claiming and all of these false income claims, which, yes, is a violation of FTC guidelines and also a violation of Monat's policy and procedures and their distributor handbook. But what do I know? You would have thought that she was making hundreds of thousands of dollars. You would have thought she was at least making $40,000, but that's not true. If only we knew exactly how much she was making. If only Monat Corporate was dumb enough to leave their revenue reporting system open and not behind a firewall and not password protected so that a commentary creator such as myself could have access to it and run all those reports and save them and send them over to the Florida Attorney General's office and also make videos about it and share it to YouTube, proving that it's a pyramid scheme. Luckily for us, that is exactly what happened. According to the Monat Internal Revenue Reports for the first quarter of 2022, Angela Sumner made a total revenue of $31,784.43. And Angela was posting quite a lot all about how she was number one in the company. But again, she was not number one in the company. She had the most personally recruited people. So the people that she had recruited right under her within that specific time frame. Most, in my opinion, of the top people in Monat, the top earners, do what's called stacking. And it's not allowed, but they do it. They'll recruit people themselves, but then like place them underneath other people in their downline to then like rank themselves up faster and better and rank up people below them. Then that way they climb the ladder or the pyramid faster too, and they're able to maintain their ranks by doing so. Also, according to a report that I pulled on the 21st of April 2022, from January to March 2022, Angela spent $2,532.95 just on Monat products. That is wild. That is so crazy. Like that's so much like skincare and hair stuff. For someone who says that you don't need to spend any money to join this business, girl, that's a lot of money you spending. So realistically, if we factor that into her total revenue between that period, and then also think about the taxes and possibly other money that she spent as well during that time, I mean, realistically, during that time specifically, she probably only made like profit would probably only be like $20,000 to $25,000 for all the work that she was putting in, for how many people she recruited, for how much she made this her entire personality. The juice ain't worth the squeeze. And like I said, always keep in mind that that is revenue, not profit. I talk about this in my videos constantly. If you do watch my videos, you get it. But there's a huge difference between revenue and profit. And the little equation there is your total revenue minus any expenses you had, minus taxes, things like that. And then from there, you have your profit. So like I said, it would probably been around $20,000 to $25,000. That's probably the most that Angela made around that time, because it is so hard to maintain people under you when you are in a multi-level marketing company, but especially Monat at this time. It was so, they would drop in like flies. They were dropping like the hair follicles after using Monat products, allegedly. And just to prove that point, in January of 2022, I have the numbers here of how many market partners they had total, how many were at each rank. So for January, there were 340,218 market partners in Monat by the end of January 2022. And then that number dropped to, it's not funny. It's funny. Then that number dropped to 326,497. That was a big drop. And then the next month, in March of 2022, that number dropped even further to 317,689 market partners. And if you look at those and compare all of them together, I mean, you can see the numbers that drop the most drastically between those would be really the bottom three ranks: market partner, managing market partner, associate market builder, and what's the other one? Market builder. And well, they're really the lowest four. And so I think that really just shows that once you get into a multi-level marketing company, it is, like I said, and I've always said, it's so hard to keep people under you. And then from there, replace those people constantly because they're always dropping off and you're trying to maintain your rank. And that is what has happened with Angela. I mean, she dropped multiple ranks. She was not able to sustain, she was hardly able to attain it, but she was not able to sustain this success that she was trying to convince us of. So when Angela was done taking advantage of the people who were in her cult-like following, who was she going to recruit then? Well, she got pregnant. So she was going to recruit and market to and absolutely target stay-at-home moms and single moms. And it is just offensive, I guess would be the best way to put it. Yeah, blatantly obvious and offensive. While scrolling through her Instagram, it's just constantly, that's all. That's the only way she, at that point, knew how to market her side hustles, because she not only did it with Monat in network marketing, she also did it with master resale rights, which is what she started heavily promoting after that in a very inconsistent manner, but she still did that. Now we skipped ahead a little bit, but before she became a mother, a single mama, a kind of crunchy mom, as she says, which somehow made her even more insufferable. I mean, typically it like really humbles people, but oof. Like, I know people sometimes will be like, Chelsea, you seem like your energy is just so much lower. Yeah, God, keep another human alive. What you think? Get it together. I ain't gonna be screaming all the time.
I was ready in my body to someone in the store they were complimenting me on my nails. And it was a mom and a daughter, and I saw them somewhere. And then when we were waiting online, they were behind me. And the mom was like, ooh, your nails are pretty. And we were having a conversation, and I was like, this is my chance. But I totally froze up and got in my head about it because I didn't have like a business card. And I think really just the logistics of like getting their contact information became a thing. And so I ended up like talking myself out of it, even broaching the subject, and I'm kicking myself over it. So I would love to go through that.
So the first thing I'm going to tell you is you have to be all in. You have to make the decision that you're going to do it. And that's it, the end. I tell myself, I am going to talk to this person, like as if my life depends on it. And so I'm like, hey. Also, you need to make sure your hair looks good. I make things funny because I think that it's funny when things are funny. So if someone were complimenting me on my nails, I would be like, interesting that you ask, because I am in the beauty industry. Right.
And
I'm like, oh my gosh, you have such nice
nails.
And then you're a human. So humans engage in conversation. Nails and hair are not, they're the same thing. They're dead.
Dead.
So maybe you could start there. Oh, did you know my nails are dead just like my hair? The only hair that is alive is on your scalp.
While I have your attention and you seem like an incredible human being,
let me tell you about this thing that I do that's also in beauty and is changing my life.
Like, just be yourself.
So due to joining a multi-level marketing company, personally, in my opinion, I think that really pushed Angela further into the right-wing conspiracy type beliefs genre whole of the internet. And that's really where she landed herself, where truly no one wants to be. And that's on my computer screen and in my Google Drive. So Angela went on a glorious rant where she compared mask mandates to the Holocaust, all while, I could not make this up, all while wearing a Monat branded sweatshirt. It was beautiful. So that's how I learned about her at first. And a lot of people, commentary wise on YouTube, were made aware of her. And that's why most people know her in the interwebs as the Monat witch, because she kept talking about how she's a witch and she's being persecuted and basically set on fire because people are asking her not to breathe on them.
I've made that decision because I truly believe that what has happened over the last 2 years is the biggest crimes against humanity that humans have ever seen. Now, you might be like, what about the Holocaust? And I think this is worse. Now, before you get your panties in a bunch, hear me out. Anytime there's
Obviously, anytime there's a mass genocide against a group of people, it's atrocious, like, which I fully understand, okay? My views do not represent my family, my friends, anyone on my team, anyone I know, in fact. So if you feel like you don't like something that I said, that's an issue that you have with me, not any person that I know. To the people that I know and love, the people who are on my team, okay? I am so sorry if you are experiencing any of the repercussions of anything that I said. I know I tend to be very Angela. That's all I can say. And I'm so sorry if you're experiencing anything as a result of my personal beliefs about the state of the world.
Don't you just love that there's also some fat phobia sprinkled in there too? So Monat not only brought us the girl boss hustle slay boss babe version of Angela, but it also brought us into our preying on single moms era, which it might be just because I am a mom now. I am a work from home mom, and seeing constantly these women talk about how easy it is to work from home. How is it easy to work from home when you have a kid? It's not easy. Why are you lying? Stop lying. It's the worst. Unfortunately, we live in a society where women, not to speak for all of us, but hi, here I am, don't receive the postnatal care, especially in the US where Angela is, that we need. And then also the way that our society is set up, if you're not a stay-at-home mom, then you're a bad mom. But then also, if you're not financially contributing to the household, then you're also a bad mom and just a bad human in general. Network marketing boss babes and internet scammers and grifters use this trope as a type of mom shaming and manipulation, or maternal fear-mongering as I like to call it, to recruit stay-at-home moms and single moms into their scam. Angela has done this so much, and it is obviously very messed up, and I hate it, and you should too. You can be a good mom and send your kid to daycare. You can be a good mom and have a nanny. You can be a good mom and be the breadwinner. And of course, you can also be a good mom and be a work from home mom. I can personally tell you from experience that the last 9 months I've worked from home and been a work from home mom, and it absolutely sucks. I love my son so much and I would do anything for him, and I am not comfortable leaving him with someone yet. And so I understand that I'm really just doing this to myself. But the quote, working from your phone with your baby's dream that Angela tries to sell with both her master resale rights garbage and also her network marketing scam is not the dream that she makes it out to be. And if you're working from home, your job and your baby are not getting the same amount of attention, and it's not ideal for your mental health as well. But then again, Angela doesn't really believe that mental health illnesses or mental health hiccups exist at all or apply to her. So I guess she doesn't really care about that.